When does something become too much of a coincidence? My name's Eric. This is above my pay grade. Let's get into it. So if it looks like I'm wearing eyeliner, I was just in the field. I had camo paint on my face. And for the life of me, I can't get it off my eyelid area. Anyways, going through a goth phase, right? So, there has been, I've noticed kind of some of the people I follow on YouTube and the news. I've seen these stories over and over again. Maybe you have too, about food plants catching on fire, food distribution plants, food manufacturing plants. And I'm wondering myself, is this a coincidence? Because after researching it, 18 food plants in 2022 have caught fire all over the country. And is this something does this normally happen? Like food plants just catch on fire, spontaneously combust? Obviously not. So what gives? What's with we have a food shortage, and B, this is happening at the same time. And I don't think you have to be a conspiracy theorist to at least know this is not good for food prices, food distribution, and food shortages. But I also think you should look twice at why this is happening, and don't just... I do feel there is there's for sure an effort to make people think, or at least question their gut instinct, right? So when you see something and it doesn't make sense, in society today, people are, well, you're a conspiracy theorist, that you would think that somebody would intentionally do this. Maybe somebody's not intentionally doing this, but it does seem a little odd. And you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to connect the dots and say, this is not normal. And it would, if I could hear a rational explanation as to why it's happening, that would be good. But my gut instinct says there's some kind of coordination going on. And who knows? If it's an outside entity, country, what have you, I mean, definitely a good way to sow social discontent and social upheaval is to have food shortages in a country. So I don't think a foreign country's above that, but it doesn't really matter why it's happening. What matters is how it affects you. And for sure, it's not going to increase food supply. So it's yet another reason to stock up on some of the bare essentials. Have a month or two of food. So if the S hits the F, you will have a little bit of, you'll sleep better at night, in my opinion. So in other news, I think, so one of the interesting things I found as I study economics is politics and social, I would say social politics and how people interact affect a lot of economics. Or what comes first, chicken or the egg, but one affects the other for sure. I'll give you an example. If people don't feel safe, think of any country you've ever been to. If it's not a very safe place, what kind of economic activity do they have there? Probably not a lot. And so if you don't have safety and some kind of societal cohesion, you're going to have economic breakdown as well. And especially if there's some kind of depression, recession, normally violence kicks up and drug use kicks up. But one of the things I was reading on Axios the other day was that there's a study done by the Bureau of Labor about people who aren't participating in the labor force. That would be ages 24 to 35. Since February of 2020, it's gone, that bracket, that age demographic, their labor participation has gone down from between 9 and 25%, depending on where you live. And they were doing this study, and they found, take a wild guess as to why they're not working. I wouldn't have guessed this, but it's drug use, methamphetamines, uppers. But people turn to drugs during hard times. Not everyone does. And I try to tell people, you might think something, you might be okay, right? You might be a person who's like, I wouldn't do that. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to cross my T's and dot my I's and make sure that I can weather a storm. But not everybody is in that position. Not everybody can do that or is willing to do that for whatever reason. And so society as a whole, that you're going to have more people turn to things like drugs, and how that affects economics, the workforce, and eventually you, one way or another. This is why I think it's really important. Like, politics for sure affects economics, because part of economics is human behavior, and on a macro level, it's the whole society's behavior. And inflation, I think, is going to lead to more societal breakdown, unfortunately. It's also a good opportunity to rebuild, but it's definitely going to lead to things that, and you've seen them in the news, more violence, especially in populated areas, more people stealing, more desperation. And I don't want the viewers of this video to be in that position. And this also goes back to your gut instinct. Don't let people say you're a conspiracy theorist if you want to prepare. A lot of people prepare, I'm in the military. I'm used to this. I always say part of being in the military is training for a day that may never come, but you're ready for it. That's your job. And I do think that the same goes for your day-to-day life. You've probably heard the phrase, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And you don't want to be the person who doesn't have the ability to maybe defend yourself, provide for your family. Those things are awfully important, and they help you be the leader in that scenario. You can't really pour from a cup that's empty. And so if you want to help others in times of struggle, if you think those are ahead of us, then you need to be one of the people that's not struggling to help them, right? If you're thinking about what you're going to eat, then obviously that's going to be a problem. And who knows how bad things can get. And a lot of people, I'm not worst case scenario, but that can happen. It is a possibility, right? It doesn't mean it's going to, but it is a possibility that we have food shortages and people go absolutely berserko. So that is a real possibility. Food shortages have been all over the news, so that's probably a sure thing. How people react to them, that's a roll of the dice. So I hope you're not rolling the dice on your preparation yourself. Yeah, food for thought. I'm saying this to myself as well, because I'm every time I go to the grocery store, we just pick up 2 of what we normally be buying, and we'll eventually eat it anyway. So A, you're locking in the price if the price goes up, and B, you're going to eat it, so it's not wasted money. Genius. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you think this kind of stuff is important and you want to warn your friends and family, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.